Hello, Captain Ethan Whitehall, Company D, 2nd U.S. Sharpshooters. Today's video again is sponsored by Kerry Davison of American Civil War Kits. This one is covering the construction of the M1860 holster kit that he supplied very generously to us for free. Basically, starting out, after I received the kit, I dyed it with the iron dye that we have the video on how to make. Since these don't come with instructions, this is kind of a reverse engineer one of the holsters that I have that's a quality maker, just like the ones that Kerry reproduces. So essentially, to start with one of his kits, I took the holster flap and marked with my marking tool, then double row stitched with a saddle stitch on the body of the holster. From there, I proceeded to fold the belt loop flap. As you can see, there are a couple holes. I highly suggest when you are making one of these kits, especially anything with belt loops, that you find the width of your belt to make sure that it fits within this channel. Otherwise, your belt's not going to make it all the way and push through. So after I folded this, I punched through the both sides of the flap and into the body of the holster. As you can see, some of the lining there, I do have this sewn together since I'm about to finish sewing this up for the rest of the video. So from there, I just punched everything, made sure it lined up, then took my hole punch, punched 3 holes. These are copper rivets that are used to add more structural integrity to the holster. So after that, proceeded to stitch everything together, punch the whole rivets through. So you can see they are riveted in on the other side, and they're fairly flattened down just because the pistol will be going into here, and I want it scratching the bluing or the wood handles off, the finish off the wood handles. After all that was done, I tacked various parts down the body together just to see where I would need to put my brass finial along with the closure tab on the holster. After I got those put in, I set the pistol in just so I could have the width of the body, and this is about where I found it. Highly suggest you do that as well. You want to make sure that everything that goes on the inside is sewn first before you sew your body shut. Otherwise, you won't be able to punch the finial through, do the stitching. There is a protector, barely see, right there, that covers the end of the finial from the rest of the holster. A note for the belt loop that I just remembered is you want to make sure that you do your 2 inner copper rivets first. They do sit just on the inside. The lighting's a little terrible, but you can barely see them in there. You want to make sure that this isn't sewn together or riveted first. From there, once those rivets are in, you can sew and rivet this together and it'll hold. The reason why the 2 rivets are in the belt loop in the top of the flap is just gives it a little more structure and also makes it hold. So once I got everything riveted, pounded out, stitched, I proceeded to sew this little piece right here. And the reason for this, and you don't actually see it on most common reproductions, especially the low quality ones, is this little strip of leather. This is to protect the corner of the holster along with the beginning of the stitches from the trigger guard, anything else that would potentially be rubbing down as you're putting your holster or putting your pistol in or drawing your pistol from the holster. So once I had that done, I really suggest wetting this section of the holster. As you can see, this is actually fairly round. Is wetting it just so it forms to the barrel of your pistol. I do carry either an 1858 Remington or an 1861 Colt Navy. 1861 being the 36 caliber, even though it looks near identical to the 1860 Colt Army. Anyways, after wetting it, I took the end cap piece and with the hole punched, I pre-punched everything around the sides of the body when I did the flap and the belt loop, just so it's all done and out of the way. I then sewed this piece on. This piece can be a little bit tricky just because you have to punch your holes and then cut with an awl at a 45-degree angle to meet the stitching of the body. If you're not careful, as you can see, this little ridge right here pops up. That's just where one of those holes, I actually tore out the side wall of it. Doesn't really affect anything. It just does, if you're into the cosmetic looks of things, affects the cosmetic look of it just a little bit, but I'm not too terribly worried. So once I had all that done, I finished sewing the tab on the outer side of the holster together to begin stitching. When I want to say dry fit, but it's not really the correct term since this isn't woodworking. I basically just very loosely stitched down the body, but I started from the bottom and I noticed that I was actually offset up here by about that much, so 1/8 of an inch. So I highly suggest starting from the top, working your way down. You want to also make sure that your stitch holes actually match together with the body. Otherwise you'll have some awkward waviness. Yes, this is a little wavy, just mostly from handling, but once it is stitched together, it is fairly straight. As I said, the kit didn't come with any instructions, so I kind of just had to slowly take my time, reverse engineer one of my holsters without taking it completely apart, just so I didn't mess anything up on this. Measuring definitely took into account, especially the distance from the rivets, the width of the belt, the distance from where the closure tab is. Since this is circular sewn, it is a little off. I could have used my compass for that. Unfortunately, I didn't really do that. This one, I remembered to on the blackened side. That's why this one looks a little more round, and I can just clean up my loose threads from everything like that. But honestly, it's a fairly easy kit to put together, even without instructions. Like I said, you just have to go slow. If you have visual aids, I looked for a couple hours as I was sewing this on Kerry's website of his finished holster product, and I'm fairly happy with how it turned out so far, even though it's not done yet. And it fits the pistol perfectly, even without the bottom portion of it sewn. Keep in mind this is just a little flat, so it does have some wiggle room. So as you can see, that little leather tab and its function with the holster. So now that we have all that, just pull your closure tab down. I like to keep my closure tabs tight, that way there's no chance of it coming loose, anything like that. So even with the holster in it, it looks good and ready to go, even if it's all open like that. But this basically is kind of a cool little cross section that not many people get to see with their pistol holsters. So I'm going to finish sewing this up, and I will show you what the finished product looks like in just a second. Alright, and now that we have the finished holster, yes, some of the stitching is visible, some isn't. When I used my slicker, it kind of covered over some of the hard edges, but I prefer having kind of rounded corners. This side's a lot better since I kind of folded everything to the center, but you can see just kind of the grade of stitching, everything like that. Same as the back. Some of these I probably did pull just a little too tight, kind of right around where the lever handle is. As you can see, I mean, pistol fits in there just fine. There's that little leather strap, and it's still a fairly new holster, obviously, so it's gonna stay in there a little tight, which honestly I prefer. I'm not doing cowboy action shooting. I'm not, trying to be a gunslinger on the Old West, so this does just fine for me. Um, Again, like I said, I'm really happy with this kit, how it turned out, even without a lack of instructions and having a few mess ups on my part. None of that was the kit's fault. Carry Supply's very top notch kits, at least the uh, three that I've done. I will be working on a pistol ammunition pouch or pistol ammunition box uh, after this one. That one will have a few other little construction quirks here and there. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to be using a wood block to use as a former, something I didn't have to really use with a holster. But if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like more videos on gear reviews from different vendors, how-to videos, Civil War woodworking projects, sharpshooter history, and gear and uniforms used by the sharpshooters, please subscribe. The link for Kerry Davison's website will be in the description below, along with links to our Facebook page and our website. Thank you.